In our course this summer, I've had the opportunity to study the famous 1845 split of the Triennial Convention, which created the Southern Baptist Convention. I've gotten to study a lot about where the Southern Baptists went as a denomination, the controversies they've dealt with, how they responded to racism, and how in modern times they have promoted racial reconciliation. However, much of my research has not been geared anywhere north of the Mason Dixon line. I've been stuck pretty much in the South, Georgia, Texas, and so on. So, for this project, I wanted to look specifically at the Northern Baptist identity, what it meant to be Northern Baptist when compared to the Southern Baptist. Both of these organizations have been marked by their historical roots. The Northern Baptists have embraced a societal model of governance, whereas the Southern Baptists embraced the the conventional model. The Southern Baptists had a convention that could affect change on a more regional level, where each church was still autonomous, but there was far more influence from the top down. The resolutions that were passed, the actions that were taken, even the organizations were more effective. In the North, however, they have been marked by more of an extreme local autonomy or more of an extreme independence in each of the mission organizations. Mission agencies were their own organizations. Individual Baptist members of churches, had to pay $100. That was back in the 1800s. Had to pay $100 per person to join the larger society. There was no church representation as a congressional model, as you would see in the Southern Baptist Convention. That was a huge difference. That is a core moment in Baptist history where you can see the two denominations divide. Throughout their history, the Northern Baptists have changed their names multiple times, whereas the Southern Baptists have always been the Southern Baptist Convention. The Northern Baptists were first called the American Baptist Missions Union. Then they switched to the Northern Baptist Convention to reflect a new conventional model they tried out. And then at last, after a few more changes prior to that, they have finally adopted the title American Baptist Churches of the United States of America. Today, modern Northern Baptist churches are totally autonomous. There is some influence from the National Convention, but for example, each Northern Baptist church has the ability to choose on how they interpret key Bible passages that might be considered controversial or questionable. For example, on the issue of homosexuality, each congregation has the authority to choose for themselves how they interpret those passages. So you have some churches that feel a freedom to license or ordain openly homosexual ministers. In other cases, such as gender politics or gender identity, there was a case that came up in Washington, D.C., where Calvary Baptist Church in the nation's capital ordained a transgender minister. So in the North, you have a lot more freedom at a local level, and as a matter of fact, the church's website actually says that they celebrate the racial and social and cultural diversity of each congregation. Whereas in the South, in the Southern Baptist Convention, there's more push to uphold the Bible as the Word of God, and you see more of a standard interpretation of those core social issues across the board.